for my President's report today, I would like to fill you in about the Board of Directors and what we've all been up to since the last AGM. But first I'd like to tell you about how we have assembled such a wonderful team. Whenever we open nominations for the Northumberland United Way Board, we look for people with the skills we need, but we also strive to reflect the geography and demographics of Northumberland County. When we have more suitable candidates than we have openings, we take the opportunity to recruit members for the various standing committees we have, such as the Community Investment Committee. I call these people our bench strength. When we have a board opening in between the annual nominations timeframes, we are able to fill the vacancy quickly and with already qualified individuals. As boards go, we're at a good size, 17. In fact, you may recall the last AGM, the motion was approved to increase the maximum number of directors to 18 because the existing board members were very busy and we needed some more manpower. While some boards of directors are strictly overseeing bodies and require a few members, Northumberland United Way is a very involved and engaged board. We ask each new director to join 2 committees, and many members sit on 3. Our standing committees include Executive, Human Resources, Governance, Resource Development, and Community Investment. And this year we have a new committee that will be involved with the Action for Community Change project. On top of all these, several of our directors also serve on the campaign cabinet, and everyone participates in the numerous fundraising and program activities during the year. No wonder we need so many. Here are just a few of the accomplishments of your board of directors since last April. As many of you know, I feel very passionately about risk management and how important it is, and our board aligns with that. Although we have been following a rigorous risk management approach, it has now been documented in an official risk management policy. The board joined the growing trend in the not-for-profit sector and mandated police records checks for all directors and all volunteers. Recognizing the potential risks associated with social media, we pursued an insurance solution, but when none was available, we took steps to de-risk our situation via policy changes and education. When we heard about another United Way being stung by check fraud, Jennifer Moore, a member of our Finance Committee and our incoming Treasurer, created the Northumberland United Way check fraud policy. I believe that our board demonstrates good governance. And again, here's a few examples. In 2012, the board decided that all operational policies and procedures should be reviewed every 3 years. As a result, the Governance Committee reviewed 23 of these documents and made changes to 13 that were then brought to the board for approval. The terms of reference for all committees and the board were either created or updated, and now annual reviews will be done. In 2012, Northumberland United Way applied for accreditation by Imagine Canada in the areas of governance. This is an initiative that Imagine Canada launched last year, and we are going to be going through that process in the next few months. And when we've completed it and are accredited, we will be able to put on our website that we have that standard of excellence in the area of not-for-profit management. 2 volunteer policy and procedures manuals were produced, 1 for directors and 1 for other volunteers. And in January, we completed the 2nd annual board self-assessment survey. Paul mentioned the Ontario Not-for-Profit Act, very important legislation that did create the need for us to change our bylaws. Where many not-for-profits would have to go outside to get legal counsel to perform the required work, we were so fortunate to have Paul Macklin on our board, our in-house counsel. He reviewed the legislation and proposed the new bylaw language that you approved today. In the area of recognition, at the last annual meeting, the first Community Builder Award was given out. Thanks to Paul Allen, George Gordon, and Brian Ostrander, this recognition is becoming a county-wide affair. This year, the recipients come from Brighton, Crammy, Allmacombe-Haldeman, Port Hope, Cobourg, and Campbellford. As Paul mentioned, our primary area of business is community investment. And in 2012, significant funds were once again distributed to our 13-member agencies to support their ongoing operations, and grants were given to 14 not-for-profits throughout the county to address such needs as food security and transportation. The processes by which these dollars are given out is overseen by the Community Investment Committee, which is ably led by Dr. Vern. The annual allocations are driven by the community review process, where groups of 3 to 4 directors, members of the CIC, and community representatives assess the applications and recommend how the board should respond. Grant requests are triaged by teams of 2 to 3 CIC members, and recommendations are again made to the board for approval. In addition to Vern, the following board members were members of the CIC over the past 12 months. Judy McLean, who's vice chair, Leslie Orpana, Karen Trizzino, Paul Allen, Tenday Danha, Eugene Todd, and Ed Cox. But to give the money out, first we have to fundraise. And an annual challenge for our organization is finding the right person or persons to lead the annual fundraising campaign. In 2012, we were very fortunate that one of our directors, Marcon, stepped up to be co-chair. Other directors joined the campaign cabinet, bringing important skills and experience to the table. Peter Delanty and Paul Allen were instrumental in helping us with the education sector. And when we needed a last-minute push to the finish, Jay Robinson created the 30 and 30 logo in record time, and I believe, Jay, that was same-day service.
No upcharge.
The resource development team strives to find sources of sustainable funding. Directors Ann Cox, George Gordon, Dale Chipman, Mark Holmes, and Jay Robinson worked with staff this year to deliver a meaningful increase in the number of Leading the Way donors we have, and those are people who give $1,000 or more. It has been my honor to be the titular leader of this fantastic team of dedicated, professional, generous, committed, priceless people. And I would ask that you join me in thanking them for their contribution to the success of our organization in 2012. Directors, would you please stand up? Members of the board are volunteers. They receive no compensation. But there's another group of unpaid volunteers that is often less visible, but by no means less productive. I am talking about the community volunteers who were members of the Community Investment Committee, the Communications Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Campaign Cabinet in 2012. Susan Abel, Ken Jansen, Darlene Theriault, Margaret Bell, Lynda Kay, Helen Banfield, Joanne Matthew, Karen Chalovich, Peter Danukas, who was the co-chair with Mark of our campaign, Ken Prue, Barb Keenan, Scott Fraser, Dennis Goulin, Barry McQuillan, and Lana Taylor. Please join me in thanking them as well. I've heard some of our volunteers called heroes, and indeed they are. But if it weren't for 8 very special people, their feet would never have left the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to rise again and thank Lynda Kay, Kathy Kavanagh, Diane Turk, Helen Walsh, Beach McNamara, Linda Isak, Barry Witteveen, and Terry Judy, our staff.
Pam is always a very hard act to follow. She's a fantastic speaker and does an amazing job. I hope all of you got a copy of our thank you report. I want to thank the staff that put this together and got it ready for today, so they've done an excellent job. We will be sending, actually this year, we're trying to be really green. It will be posted to our website and to our Leading the Way donors and such. We will send out a postcard and ask them if they would like a copy of it or whether or not they will could download it off our website. So anyhow, please take a moment to review it. Northumberland United Way has been a part of the fabric of our communities throughout the county for over 43 years. We are proud to be a part of a network of over 110 United Ways across this country that raises funds, convene, and collaborate to support and address the social issues in our communities in order to create opportunities for a better life for everyone. This past year, with our partners, the United Ways in Leeds and Grenville, Oxford County, and Sault Ste. Marie, and through funding support from the Ontario Trillium Foundation, we launched a new initiative called Action for Community Change. And you might remember at last year's annual general meeting, we announced the funding for that. The starting point of this project has been to turn outward, to arrange community conversations with individuals from all walks of life and of all ages to listen, learn about their aspirations for their communities. We have crisscrossed the county and held over 20 community conversations. These conversations will aid us in developing strategies and aligning our investments locally to have an impact on the issues facing our communities today. Change is happening all around us in the delivery of services through our health and social service networks. With the fiscal challenges our governments are faced with, it is increasingly becoming the responsibility of our communities to aid and support the network of services. That is why it is important that we collaborate, remove barriers to service, reduce duplication, and ensure our investments make an impact locally. In 2012, United Way was proud to fund a network of 13 agencies who provided over 14 grants. These investments supported issues such as food security, children and youth, transportation, access to recreation, prevention programs, mental health, and seniors. We support and partner on a number of community programs such as Day of Caring, Info Northumberland, the Greenwood Coalition, Backpack for Kids, Emergency Volunteer Registry, and Food for All in Northumberland. We also sit at a variety of tables, including MPRAC, the Northumberland Poverty Reduction Action Committee, the Affordable Housing, the Rural Transportation Initiative, to mention a few. This past year, we have moved forward on our strategic plan, focusing on our governance, risk management, and internal capacity. Northumberland United Way is involved regionally, provincially, and at the national level as United Ways across this country, under the leadership of our new CEO, Jacline Abray-Nyman, develop a new strategic plan for our movement, enhance our relationships with our national corporate partners, and invest models to share services amongst United Ways in Ontario. We must remain relevant to our communities. Northumberland United Way is committed to doing so by engaging, listening, and working with our residents, stakeholders, donors, and our member agencies. Our campaign under the leadership of our co-chairs, Peter DeNucas and Mark Holmes, hit a record high for dollars raised at $953,000, which will be invested into a network of health and social services and programs throughout 2013. All of this work wouldn't have been possible without the tremendous efforts of our board, community volunteers, campaign team, and our staff. Kathy, Helen, Diane, Barry, Terry, Beach, and Lynda. I thank you all for your dedication and commitment to give, volunteer, act. These efforts have an impact on the lives of the residents of Northumberland County. And I must take a moment just to thank Pam, who's been our president for the past 2 years. She has been a dynamic individual. She has just been a wonder to work with. And I really appreciate her mentorship and her support throughout these past 2 years. I'd just like to give a round of applause to Pam. We thank all our donors, our community partners, our member agencies, labour, business, and our funders, the Government of Canada, the Province of Ontario, the County of Northumberland, who we have a charitable partnership with through the Food for All warehouse, and they are our landlords, and they're terrific landlords, I must say, and the Ontario Trillium Foundation for all of their support. Without your generosity and commitment, we couldn't do the work we do. So I thank every one of you for your support throughout 2012, and I look forward to your continued support and generosity in 2013. Thank you very much. Two other gentlemen in the room we'd like to recognize, and that is our campaign co-chairs. No, it's really fun when you go out and recruit a campaign chair, and we had a great time recruiting both Peter DeNucas and Mark Holmes. Just invite them for lunch at the Woodlawn. They are members of the media, you know. Keep the media come. But they're great, and we really appreciate it. But they did a fantastic job as our campaign chairs, and they really enjoyed working with each other. They had a lot of patter between each other. They certainly enjoyed all the events, lots of good food, and they did a tremendous job raising our last year's goal and exceeding it at $953,000. Amazingly, they're competitors in business, but they sure are not competitors when it comes to supporting their community. They did a terrific job, and we'd like to thank them for their efforts. And Pete and Mark could just come up, that would be great.
Suck it in, Mark.
I have the pleasure of recognizing the contributions of our outgoing President, Pam Went. Pam and her husband Steve moved to Northumberland County in 2004, and almost immediately she began volunteering in the community and sharing her wealth of previous board experiences. Pam joined our board in 2008 and served on the CIC committee. She was recruited to the board by former board member Margaret Bell. Margaret had met Pam through their association with the Art Gallery of Northumberland, and Margaret identified her as an excellent candidate for the United Way board. Margaret was spot on that thought. In 2010, Pam joined the executive as vice president and became president in 2011. As you heard, Pam has a love for policy and has chaired our governance committee along with being ex officio on many other committees. Pam is well organized, as you've heard, a great speaker, and a passionate and dedicated volunteer. She and Steve have been kind enough to open their beautiful home to the board every summer to host our summer social. Pam has also served at the provincial level as a representative for the Central East region for the United Ways of Ontario, and she has just been appointed as the Council's representative for the Shared Services Project being funded through the Ontario Trillium Foundation. On a personal note, as Lynda said, I would also like to thank Pam for her mentorship. When I joined the board, I knew very little about what not-for-profit was. In fact, governance and risk management weren't even in my vocabulary. Now I think I can at least string a sentence or two along about each, and it's thanks to Pam. Pam, would you come up, please? I'd like you to accept this gift as a thank you for our appreciation from all of the work you've done in the last couple of years.
Last year we gave out our first Community Builder Award, and this year we are proud to present 3 here today. And each of the awards are given to people that certainly fulfill the spirit and philosophy of community building. The first award is to, and we put a call out to each of the municipalities across the county to make nominations within their community for a community builder. And we were not surprised when the municipality of Port Hope came back with the nomination of the Greenwood Coalition. The Greenwood Coalition was formed in 2009 and in an effort to seek solutions for a better life for the marginalized residents of Port Hope. We have been really blessed to be working with the Greenwood Coalition. We have worked with them as they've received grants through the Homelessness Partnership Strategy and the Ontario Trillium Foundation. And they do just amazing work in Port Hope. And it's such a fantastic grassroots organization with service clubs and churches and individuals coming out to help the organization and the individuals who are living in Greenwood. But it's become much more than that. You know, they have a weekly dinner now. They have almost 100 volunteers that help with those weekly dinners over many weeks, and they're just an amazing group. So they've been providing food, transportation, access to housing, healthcare, a lot of creative activities, and friendship to community members who are at risk of falling through the cracks. There's no doubt that they have made a major impact in Port Hope and are certainly true community builders. And we're pleased to present this Community Building Award to Dave Sheffield, who's been their outreach coordinator and still does fantastic work, and Jeff Knott, who is the chair of the board.
Our second recipient is a very deserving individual who exemplifies the concept of community supporter. One of her nominators noted that her work ethic and dedication to the Cobourg community can best be characterized by the phrase, service unto others. Joan Chalovich is a former mayor of the town of Cobourg, chaired the 175th anniversary of Cobourg Committee last year, is a longtime chair of the Cobourg Museum Foundation, and has supported numerous other organizations, including the Northumberland Land Trust, Northumberland Orchestra and Choir, Halcyon Place, the Art Gallery of Northumberland, and the United Church. She is a longtime Rotarian and has had a special place in her heart to aid the disadvantaged and individuals with special needs. Joan has been a member of the Board of Community Living. She was involved in their radio auctions in years gone by, a strong supporter of Easter Seals, and a member of the Board of Transition House. Joan, I know this award will be very special to you. It is named in memory of your son-in-law, Bill. His partner, Karen, is here today. On behalf of the United Way, congratulations on receiving the Town of Cobourg's William G. Smith Community Builder Award.
And our final award, we are pleased to present to Community Care of Northumberland. Community Care operates 6 satellite offices throughout the county, and along with 900 volunteers, provides a wide range of important support services to seniors and adults living with disabilities. Some of these include Meals on Wheels, caregiver support, respite service, diners club, transportation, hospice, and palliative service. And one of the great things they've done over the last few years is really rolled out a really good rural transportation network. And the United Way has been very pleased to have been a part of supporting that through funding, and to see that network just continue to grow. The need for transportation in our rural areas is great, and Community Care has done a fantastic job of trying to fulfill that need over the last few years. So we really are proud in presenting this award to Community Care in Northumberland, who help their clients to remain healthy and independent and in their homes longer. And Dave Graham is here from Community Care. I'd like to present that award to him, as he's the chair of the board.